guys, it's IFBB Pro Roxie Beckles here, and I am here today with another installment of my Q&A series. Today I would like to talk about the topic of off-season and some things that you should think about in your off-season. We're going to touch upon whether or not you should be doing cardio off-season, about weight gain as well off-season, and what's within normal ranges for the average competitor. Now, one thing that I like to stress is that off-season is where you make all of your improvements. It's not about just the contest season when you're dieting, when you're getting ready for that show that's going to make or break you as a competitor. How good you are on stage is all built in the times way before you even start to cut calories. It's actually built in your off-season. Off-season is when champions are born. When you start your off-season, one of the first things that you want to do is take your pictures from your last show and see what needs to be improved. Now, it's very helpful to get feedback from the judges that you're in front of. Sometimes if you're in a big show, it's really hard for the judges to kind of remember who you are just because they see so many bodies on stage. So sometimes I've found that depending on the judges that you ask, some are more detailed than others. So it's going to really help you being able to take a look and be completely objective about the whole thing and seeing what needs to be improved. And if you can't figure it out for yourself, it's really going to be important for you to link up with either a coach who really knows the industry well and knows what each division looks for, or just someone that is in the industry that understands, that can give you some honest feedback. So you definitely want to take a look and see, okay, what parts of my body need to be improved, and build your training program around that. Now, when it comes to your eating, I personally like to have a lot more freedom in my off-season, and I like for my clients to have a lot of freedom in their off-season as well. Because of the fact that for you to really get where you need to be when it's time to diet, you have to buckle down, and you have to be on top of your diet at that point. So when you're in off-season, allowing that freedom is what's going to be able to give you that okay to be strict and to buckle down when it's time to. Now, whether your diet approach is more of an if it fits your macro approach, or if you do better with a meal plan that gives you some options to be able to swap foods out, it's totally up to you. Personally, I don't feel like there's any right or wrong way to do an off-season plan. It's all about what works for the client. In my own practice, I like to kind of create a meal plan for my clients, but also give them ways to be able to sub foods out whenever they wish. And also, one of the things that I like to pair with my own plans for clients is to give them their macros and calories as well. So that way, if you want freedom and you want to be able to do a more of a flexible dieting approach, you have that ability to do that and to do it well. And if you are looking for more structure, if you're getting a little bit too far away from where you need to be, you have that structure of a meal plan and the ability to sub foods out. So it really depends on what works for you. For me, there's no magic formula as long as you're eating in a way that's going to make you move steadily towards your goal. Now, one thing I will touch upon, how much you should be eating off season is really dependent upon where you need to be. I think that for most people that you should definitely be at the very least at maintenance. If you're eating in a caloric deficit during off season, you're kind of defeating the purpose. The only way I can see that working is for someone who actually needs to come down. Let's say if you are a physique competitor and you're a little bit bigger and you need to come down. All right, well, you're gonna have to eat in a deficit to make yourself fit a little bit more into the division. If you are a figure or a bikini girl who's trying to fit into your division without having to bump up to the next one and you need to come down, then of course, strategically dieting is going to be what you have to do to get to where you want to be by the time the season comes around. If you choose that kind of approach, it's really going to be important for you to do a little bit, maybe like a couple of weeks of dieting and then take a break, bring your calories up to maintenance for a couple of weeks and let your body settle out before going into another dieting phase. You don't want to go from contest diet and then still dieting for your off season and then have to diet again into another season like that. It's just not good for the body and it's not good for your mental either. So make sure that you do play it smart with whatever way that you choose. Now, if your goal is to gain muscle, then of course you definitely want to be eating in a caloric surplus. So setting your calories up in a way that's going to make that goal come to reality is going to be the important thing. At the very least, you should be eating somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 10 to maybe even 15% above your maintenance calories for the day. So think about that when you are setting up your own diet plan. One of the biggest questions that a lot of competitors also have is how much weight should you be gaining in the off season? Now, to me, it's really a hard question to kind of answer because everybody's body is so different. Now, I don't think it's really the wisest idea to try to stay within 5 pounds of your stage weight. Now, unless you're not trying to make any kind of changes in your body, if you just want to bring the same look to the stage the next time that you hit it, maybe an even leaner package or so, then okay, then that's not a bad goal to have. But realize that keeping your body weight that close to your stage weight is going to really make it harder for you to have any kind of freedom in your life. And I think it's really important to find balance. You don't have to be on 24 hours a day. You know, if you're going to do this and do this for the long term, I know some of you out there may be looking to turn pro, you've got to think of this as a professional athlete would work and train. You know, so you can't stay on all the time, and it's not healthy for the body to be so lean year round. So being comfortable, especially for women, being comfortable with putting on a little bit of body fat in the off season is something that you really have to work on. And that's not to say that you allow yourself to be, you know, out of shape or to kind of walk around like someone that doesn't even look like they compete ever. You should maintain a good amount of conditioning even still. So if you're competing at the lower ends of body fat for a male or female, let's say for women in particular, if you're stepping on stage closer to 12%, if you're stepping on stage closer to like 11% for, like, let's say bodybuilders or women's physique girls, for most figure girls you might fall anywhere between 12 to 14%. For bikini girls you might be closer to 14 to 16%. People don't realize that if you're a woman with 5% body fat that you're probably dead, okay? So I don't want to hear any of you guys talking about you have about 5% body fat. Guess what, honey? No, you don't. But anyway, so if you maintain your body fat in the off season anywhere between 18 to about 20%, then you're great. You know, for those of you that like to stay a little bit leaner all year round, staying closer to 16% may be more realistic than trying to maintain the really lower ends of body fat percentage for a woman when it comes to where you should be during the contest season. So going off of that, as far as weight gain is concerned, it's hard to really put a number on the scale and where you should be. I think that it's actually more about the mirror at the end of the day. It's about what you're seeing. It's about pictures and going off of what you're seeing, because if you are one of those people that are trying to put on muscle in your off season, then you're gonna see your weight jump up higher than you may be actually used to. So what's the point of trying to maintain within a certain box number when you don't even know what your potential could be? Now, throwing around numbers, theoretically speaking, for most people, being anywhere between 15 to even up to 20-25 pounds post stage weight is pretty realistic, and it's pretty healthy to be there. For some of you, you might even be up about 30 pounds. I know that I stepped on stage at the Olympia at 145, 146 pounds, but I'm sitting here today at 179 pounds. So it really just depends on where you are and your body and how you hold your weight. So it's really hard to gauge a number and say, okay, you only have this box to improve and you can't go beyond that. So watch the mirror, watch what you look like. If you can still see some good definition, as far as like you can still see a little bit of abs, you might not have a clear bulging six-pack that you have when you train and you're in contest mode. You might just have a little outline of the stomach or whatever, maybe a little four-pack, then you're good. You know, as far as the legs, if you see just a nice little separation in the legs for some of you, if you don't hold a lot of body fat there, you'll see it more than you might see for some other people. In your arms, if you still see some nice definition, little bit of definition in the chest, And for some of you ladies out there, you know, you may or may not see some separation in the glutes and hands. It really depends on where you hold your body fat. But if you can still see some line and separation in the body, along the muscles, then you're in a pretty safe place. Now, I get a lot of questions as to whether or not cardio should be done off season, and my views have kind of changed on this. I used to be the type that's like, no cardio off season, you don't need cardio. But the truth of the matter is, it really depends on the person, and it really depends on what your goals are for your off season and where you need to be for your next season. If you're someone who needs to maintain a leaner shape, maybe it's harder for you to diet down when it does come to pre-contest time, you definitely want to think about staying a little bit leaner off season. So in addition to your diet being where it needs to be, you also might need to add in just a little bit of cardio. Now, doing an hour of cardio a day off season is totally counterproductive, because where do you go from there when you start your diet? If you can get yourself to be really disciplined when it comes to meeting your macros, meeting your caloric intakes and requirements, or just following a meal plan with some flexibility of whatever works for you, in addition to adding a little bit of cardio, then you don't have to go too crazy. So for someone who's looking to maintain a little bit more leanness in the off season, doing anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes of cardio a couple of times a week, maybe 2 days a week, maybe 3 days a week, maybe even 4 days a week or so, is enough to be able to maintain a degree of leanness but still reach your physical goals without going overboard. Now, for those of you who are looking to put on muscle, or those who are looking to put on a little size, then doing cardio is kind of counterproductive. Once again, it can be done just in the way that I explained a moment ago. But what you're going to probably think about is adding in a little bit more food in there to counter too much of a caloric surplus that can go on once that cardio is in there. Remember, you have to be eating more in order to see your body grow and to put on size. So if you're going to just cardio away some of your calories, then it's kind of counterproductive to what your overall goal is at the end of the day. So for you guys, you're going to definitely want to keep the cardio to the minimum and really be a little bit more strict with your diet to control the body fat, so that way you're not going up exponentially in your off season. But all in all, your off season time is about setting up for a successful pre-contest season. So everything you do should be thought out, just as it is when you are dieting. The only difference is that you should definitely enjoy a lot more freedom. You should definitely include some free meals in there, or if you do follow a more flexible dieting approach, that's already kind of given in the setup of what your diet can be. But as long as you're allowing that balance to be able to do what you do on the competing end or on the bodybuilding end, but still enjoy your life and have balance. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. If you are interested in coaching with me, please visit my website, www.rockstarfitness.com. I work with both competitors and non-competitors alike, so go ahead and check out my site for more information. If you'd like to follow my personal blog with all of my training and my diet and how I get ready for my shows, both off-season and on-season, check out my website, roxiebeckles.com. Or you can also connect with me on Facebook, and that link is right here. I have one more surprise for you before I wrap up today. In December, the exact date is December 31st, 2014, I will be debuting a brand new site for you guys, which will allow you to get some more of a do-it-yourself type of approach to your workouts and your diet, all based off of the philosophies that I've found that work for my one-on-one clients. Stay tuned for information on that. That will be all over my Facebook profile. I'll also do a special video blog to introduce you to that website and more. I look forward to connecting with you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.